Hello, and welcome to Beyond Books, where I talk about books from Book of the Month Club and beyond. Let's get started with my TBR for January 2024. And I hope you all had a wonderful holiday weekend, by the way. Nice when the holiday lands on a Monday, right? So first, I'd like to talk about two challenges that I'm working on starting in January. And I'm sure that I'll continue with these throughout the year. But the first is to read what I own. So right now, that isn't a whole lot. I have, I think, maybe about 10 or 12 books on my bookshelves that I haven't read. So starting with those, but also there's another challenge that I'm involved in, and I'd like to kind of overlap the two. And that challenge is 24 in 24. We read 24 banned books in 2024. The person who proposed this challenge is MJ from Reading This Life, and I'll put a link to the video down in my description area. And it's definitely worth a look to take a look at that video of hers. She has also there a list that is put out by the American Library Association, and it has books that are banned, but also some are even just in the challenged phase at this point. It's a good list. There's other lists as well. There's one from Harper's Bazaar that is very, very comprehensive. And so I've been looking at that in order to decide what it is I'd like to try to read. Some are broken down, many in fact are broken down, and the Harper Bazaar one is a good example, into states. So you can look up your home state and you can look up what is banned there specifically. It'll also give you some information as to what the ban is about, what the challenge is about, some of the history of the book, how many years has it been challenged. Some of them are classics and have been around for quite a while. It's not like it's anything new that people hadn't heard of before in a lot of the cases. So it's interesting to see why they're banned. It's interesting to see what other countries worldwide have banned some of these books. So let's get started with the books I have that overlap. They're on my shelf to be read, so they're part of my Read What You Own challenge, but then they're also banned, so they're part of my 24 and 24. So the first one I want to talk about is a book that I have never read before, but it is a classic. I'm a little surprised that I never have read it, and that is 1984 by George Orwell. And yes, this is a banned book. It's a classic. It's read and loved, and the chance that 1984 could have been anything like what they describe in this book is also something to be feared. The book centers on the consequences of totalitarianism, mass surveillance, and repressive regimentation of people and behaviors within society. So, basically, it's a banned book about banned books. So that'll be interesting. I think I'm going to make this my next read. So this one will definitely be a January read. The next one that I have, also a banned book, is Bridge to Terabithia by Catherine Peterson. And I got some information about it. I am not really familiar with this book at all, actually. I've heard of the title before, and I know that fairly recently, I think in the late 2000s, it was made into a movie. And it says that it has been frequently banned and challenged in the United States. And the reasons for the censorship include profanity, disrespect of adults, an elaborate fantasy world that may lead to confusion, references to witchcraft and atheism and violence. So, sounds as much like the world we live in as any fantasy world. So I'll be interested to see what I think after I read this. It says that the age group for this is 8 to 12. I can see monitoring what younger people are reading, but to outright ban a book is kind of a different story altogether. So let's see what I think. Next book is also a classic, To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Lee. I never have read this one either. I think I saw the movie many years ago. I have an idea of what the story is about. Let's see. This is among one of the top banned books when I looked it up. Talks about that it's a classic novel by Harper Lee that deals with issues of racism, justice, and morality in the American South. The book has been banned and challenged in various schools and public libraries. Again, I can maybe see, monitoring what a younger child is reading, but take it out of a library? That kind of doesn't make sense. And that the reasons they give is because of vulgar language, depiction of violence, and portrayal of racial discrimination. Again, that maybe sounds like the world we live in. The book has also been criticized for its stereotypical representation of African Americans and its alleged promotion of white supremacy. It's kind of interesting when, according to the back of the book, it says that it's a gripping, heart-wrenching, and wholly remarkable coming-of-age tale in a South poisoned by virulent prejudice. It views a world of great beauty and savage inequities through the eyes of a young girl as her father, a crusading local lawyer, risks everything to defend a black man unjustly accused of a terrible crime. So it sounds like it's kind of the opposite. I'm sure it depicts stereotypical representation of African Americans and white supremacy, but promotion of white supremacy sounds like more that if you have empathy with the characters, you'll be on the other side of white supremacy and not really be promoting it. But anyway, again, let's see what I think after I've read them. So those three, and what I also have is my current read. I started this, I think, on the 1st of January. I'll probably finish today. This is called Along the Edge of America by Peter Jenkins. And let me just talk for a minute about Peter Jenkins, if you're not familiar with him. His first books are written in 2 volumes, and it's about his walk across America, which he began in, I think it was the late 70s, and it took him several years to complete the journey from coast to coast. And when I looked up a little bit more about it on the internet to make sure I get all the facts right, it says that A Walk Across America is a nonfiction travel book, first published in 1979. It was the first book written by author Peter Jenkins with support from National Geographic Society. The book depicts his journey from Alfred, New York to New Orleans, Louisiana. While on his journey of self-discovery, he engaged himself in others' lives, lost his best friend, experienced a religious conversion, and courted a new wife. I absolutely loved those 2 books. They're called A Walk Across America, and the second part is called The Walk West. I read them many years ago when they first came out in the early 80s. And I also read another book that kind of accompanies those 2 volumes, and it's called The Road Unseen, where he talks about the spiritual aspects of his journey across America. So I haven't read anything really much by him during that time. This book takes place in the 1990s, and we do get caught up with what's been going on with Mr. Jenkins since his walk. And then we get to go on another journey with him, this time to the Gulf Coast. And what he does in this book is he travels by boat through the U.S. portion of the Gulf Coast. So he starts here, Key West, Florida, and goes around all the way down to the tip of Brownsville, Texas. So right across that portion of the Gulf that belongs to the United States. He also wrote a book about traveling through China. That's called Across China. I haven't read that one. And he's also had several articles published in the National Geographic, sometimes along with his photography. This book as well has quite a bit of his photography in it. It's a really beautiful area where he travels by boat, so there's a lot of great pictures of the Gulf Coast area. So, good book. I've really enjoyed it so far. Almost done. His son now, his name is Jedediah Jenkins. He's also a writer. He also travels. He has one book that I've read so far. I read it, I think, about 5 years ago or so. It's called To Shake the Sleeping Self, A Journey from Oregon to Patagonia, and a Quest for a Life with No Regret. And that's the story of him taking a bicycle trip along the West Coast and down into Central and South America. It's also a very interesting travelogue with a spiritual component to it for him as well. And I'm really glad to see the younger Jenkins putting himself out there into the world and writing about it and sharing his thoughts with us. So these are enjoyable books. I highly recommend them. So I will finish the Peter Jenkins book. I will read the 3 banned books, and I will read my book of the month from January, which should be coming within a day or so. And that'll get me started for January. If I need anything else, I have a few more things on my shelf that I can pick from. So as always, if you like my content, please like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and leave me a comment. Are you planning on reading any banned books this year? What do you think about the book bans? Have you read any of these? I'd love to hear a comment from you. And always remember that you are the author of your own story. So where are you going to take it? Thanks for watching. Have a great day.